Good evening and welcome to Tev's Next Idea, where tonight we are streaming Higurashi When They Cry Who on a special Father's Day episode. Well, pre Father's Day episode. It's Saturday night, and tomorrow is the big day. But tonight, we're gonna live some horror. As you might, if you've been watching, you might know we are doing this Japanese horror visual novel that I do have to admit is getting a little bit disturbing this last episode, especially that final the last confrontation we had with Rena, where she was outside the door and we pretty much, we're trying to close the door with her fingers stuck. Oh, that's rough. But we went extra long last time because there seemed to be no end to this chapter. So tonight we might have an end of a chapter in about 5 minutes. But we will see where we're going. Don't even know why we got the cute counter anymore. It should be creepy counter. But we'll leave it the way that it is for now. And let me go to continue, see where we are. Okay. Oh, yes. Yeah. If I die. The parents are, so where we are, to set the setting, Kiishi had a plan. As long as he had people around him, he was safe. And then his parents decided to go to Tokyo for the night and leave him all alone. So that's where we are. Oh, this is a little loud in my ear. I sprinted up the stairs and dove into my room. As you would expect, I was finally no longer able to hear Rena repeating her endless apology. Diving into my bed, I was startled by the hard lump I felt. There was something in my bed. It's the phone! You left the phone in there. It was the receiver! I finally remembered I was in the middle of a call with Oishi-san. Looking at the clock, apparently not much time had passed since I went downstairs. I don't know, that seemed pretty long to me. Could it be that my clock had run out of batteries? That would be, my estimate. I had talked with Rena for so long. How did almost no time pass? Unless Rena can control time as well. But the hand on the clock was ticking forward 1 second, every second as usual. As I put the still warm receiver to my ear, time, which felt frozen, unlike the warm receiver, began moving once again. Hello, Oishi-san? Sorry to keep you waiting.
No, not at all. I didn't wait that long.
It became apparent that the amount of time that had passed between myself and Oishi-san was different. Ooh. Over the phone, I could hear an energetic voice from a sports program or something. It drove home just how far away Oishi-san really was. Rena came just now.
Did she come to play?
I wasn't confident I could coherently explain the situation to Oishi-san. But I didn't need to right now. Right now, I needed to know about Rena. That's right, I was planning to ask Oishi-san more about Rena, but Rena's little visit had interrupted the conversation. What was true and what was false, I couldn't tell. The one thing I knew was the single grim reality that Rena was suspicious. Rena was creepy. Rena was off her rocker. I might be able to figure something out if I asked Oishi-san about her. Up until now, I had regretted it whenever I forced myself to ask things that I was better off not knowing. But looking at it that way, you could say I'd hit rock bottom. What you don't know can hurt you, apparently. There was no possible way I could feel any more regret than I did right now. No, rather I wanted to know if there was anything beyond this I would regret more. Forget about tomorrow. It wasn't out of the realm of possibility for something to happen tonight. I wanted to know everything I could. I was absolutely not going to die like this. Not without knowing anything. I definitely won't. So I'll just die a smart man instead of a dumb man. Still dead. Regarding Rena Ryugu-san, I did a bunch of digging. Yeah, well, it wasn't much. I understand that Oishi-san was talking in circles. A bit meant I dug so deep it'd be hard to discuss with you since you're her friend. I want to know everything from your research. I don't think you'd be very interested in what I have to say, though. Oishi-san? I spoke as calmly as possible to Oishi-san, who was continuing to avoid the issue. And then, I said it. Is she a demon? I think Rena Ryugu is suspicious. Even if the past incidents were from Oyashiro-sama's curse, Rena Ryugu is involved. Do you have some sort of proof that makes you believe Rena-san is suspicious? The manner in which Oishi-san spoke became very firm. Do you have some sort of proof? That was him talking as a detective. I only have circumstantial evidence. I see. I could tell even over the phone how disappointed Oishi-san was. Pulling on the first fishing line when he felt a bite, only to reel in the bait. Disappointed, but ready to cast the line once more. That's how it seemed. Oishi-san, you can't do anything without physical proof, can you? What I meant was, you can't come and save me without proof. I stuck that barb in there. As Oishi-san loved roundabout ways of saying things, he understood me just fine. It's fine, Mayabara-san. I'll protect you. That's not the least bit reassuring, since he's how many miles away? Oishi-san was just using me to continue his investigation. I was just going to get killed, and my corpse would be an important piece of evidence. That was all I was to him. Whether I'm alive or dead may be of no concern to your investigation, but it's all over for me when I die. Oishi-san went silent on the other end of the line. That may have been too blunt, but I didn't care. All I needed to relay to Oishi-san was that I was currently in a very dangerous position. So, please tell me about Rena. Satoshi transferred out, not too far in the future. I'll probably also do what Rena called transferring out as well. But you won't be able to find my corpse. You haven't even been able to find Satoshi's body yet. All right, Mayabara-san, please calm down. I was already suppressing my agitation, even without Oishi-san having to tell me. It wouldn't solve anything if I continued to scream about my mistrust in the police. It would seem that I could only depend on myself, and the bat Satoshi left behind to protect myself. I see what you're doing, Digital. You're putting guns together. Is that for me? Are you putting a gun together so Keiichi-kun can, protect himself? You are a good son. Then I at least wanted to know about what happened before Rena transferred schools. You're aware that this won't be very interesting, right? Oishi-san, realizing my resolve couldn't be swayed, finally caved. Right now, there's to me nothing that I'll find uninteresting. Please! There are a few things I need you to agree to. Okay? Please keep this confidential. Also, part of this may be speculation. Not all of it may be true. Are you still interested? It might not be true. I don't understand what you mean. Really? Do you not know about investigations? There isn't one main investigation for the mysterious chain of deaths in Hinamizawa. Each one is treated as its own individual case. Thus, Rena Ryugu has never been linked to any of their investigations. Basically, you see, this isn't an investigation of Rena done by the police, and it is a personal inquiry. Is that what you're telling me? This'll make things a lot quicker since you understand. All of it is from either phone calls or meetings and interviews. So they aren't corroborated. I'm asking you to take this all with a grain of salt, is what I mean. Do we have an agreement? All of it is just from what you've heard? Oh, yes, my apologies. It's all my personal investigation, you see. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. That thing, before, you said you saw Rena's chart, didn't you? I'm sure I heard you say that. Oishi-san paused for a moment on the other end of the line. I told you that too? Please pretend you didn't hear anything about that. I didn't care about Oishi-san having certain obligations and responsibilities. I also didn't care if there was no proof. Even if they were just rumors, there's no smoke without fire, after all. Unless you have a smoke machine, then I don't think there's fire. Please, tell me, Oishi-san. Understood. Oishi-san finally opened those tight lips of his. It seemed that Rena lived in Hinamizawa a long time ago. She had moved from Ibaraki Prefecture after she finished elementary school. Then, following that, right after transferring, the unfortunate incident with the breaking of the school windows happened. Then, Rena confided to the doctor. It was Oyashiro-sama. That was all he knew.
There isn't much difference between what I know and what you know, Mayabaro-san.
Then, what part did you investigate further? I didn't need to ask. It was the incident that happened just after she transferred.
The incident Rena was responsible for, and what she divulged to the doctor afterwards, correct?
That was me. The incident Rena was responsible for and what she divulged to the doctor afterward, correct?
Yes.
After you learned about that, you started suspecting Rena and the others, didn't you?
Yes, I did suspect them.
So they're the ones after all.
No, that's not what I meant by suspect them.
Huh? Oishi-san was the type of person to say things with confidence, but these particular words were less than reassuring. Then, who did you suspect?
That it was Oyashiro-sama.
Oh, come on. Huh?
That Oyashiro-sama's curse really exists.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. Oishi-san's laugh was quite dry. Certainly not the kind that would make you want to join in. Oishi-san resumed the conversation about the dubious circumstances behind Satoshi's disappearance. The course of events up until the start of delving into Rena's past. Just then, there was thunder in the distance, and a heavy rain started pouring down. What, we don't hear the thunder? You make every other banging noise. It came without warning, rain so heavy it felt like it could beat you down. I had left the window in my room open a crack to let the heat out. The violent wind danced into my room, making the curtains flap wildly.
What is it?
Nothing. It suddenly started raining heavily. Sorry, please continue. I got up while still on the phone and closed the window. I said at the beginning it was an incident, but because neither the school nor the victims filed charges, the police were never involved. So, you see, these involved were very reluctant to talk, regardless of there being a victim who had one eye beaten so badly that it had permanent damage. It could have been the school, or possibly some individual who made arrangements to keep this from going public.
Also, the psychologist was very strict about their professional ethics. Hello? Mayabaro-san?
Can you hear me? There was the figure of a person standing by the light near the mailbox this whole time. Well, it's Rena, isn't it? Even in this torrential rain, they didn't have an umbrella. They were unquestionably drenched from head to toe. In this shower, which more resembled a waterfall, droplets of water dripped down from her hair. Just standing there, both arms dangling at her side. one hand was the sack of boxes wrapped in cloth. Her eyes focused on my room, focused on me as I was about to close the window. Her mouth was methodically repeating a chewing motion. It was as if she had something hard to chew in her mouth, with her cheeks puffing out. What could she be eating over there? How could it be at this time? I was more enthralled by Rena instead of the shocking developments being brought to light by Oishi-san. Probably because Oishi-san isn't really bringing any shocking developments to light. He's just talking. This is much more interesting. If it hadn't started raining, I wouldn't have gone to the window. Then I wouldn't have noticed Rena, nor would I have noticed that. Rena's mouth was moving in the same pattern. She wasn't eating something, she was repeating something. What was it? Was she repeating to me? What was she saying? And why was I right up against the window, fixated on her?
Hello? Mayabaro-san, can you hear me? Hello?
I'm sorry.
Huh? Mayabaro-san?
I'm sorry. Ooh, I'm sorry.
Hello? Mayabaro-san? What's the matter?
Even as torrential downpour, Rena was still apologizing. The other self inside me drew the curtain hastily with my right hand, blocking my view of the outside. But even doing that, Rena's relentless apologies still reached my ears. I'm sorry. If I forgive you for this, will you forgive me for that? Please stop. I'm sorry. Damn it! Why did I have to forgive her? I'm the one who wants to be forgiven. What part of me can't you forgive? I won't be killed. If you won't forgive me, then I won't forgive you either. I won't forgive. I won't forgive.
Mayabaro-san, if you can hear me, then please respond. Hello?
This is freaky. Oh, and we get to the end of the chapter. You have received new tips. Split personality at the 7th mart. I just got a Steam achievement. Rain alert, I think it just said. I missed it already, but that's okay. Few new tips. Ooh, we got 2. Split personality. Are these the cops talking? I see it in the movies quite often, but what is it exactly? Multiple personalities are thought to be escapism.
Multiple personality disorder is a form of escape?
Correct. The exact mechanism is not fully understood, but it's believed to be a type of defense for the brain to retain mental stability.
Hypothetically,
Poor people imagining themselves as wealthy is a form of escapism, is it not? Is this also a form of multiple personality disorder? I wouldn't go that far, but broadly speaking, one could infer that. It's something that occurs in us all.
does a split personality occur when one cannot tell which is reality and which is the escape?
That's difficult to say. There are some who agree with that, and some who disagree. There is no consensus.
Then, is the occurrence of multiple personalities still an unknown phenomena? Something not fully comprehended in the psychiatric field?
Unfortunately, that is the current state of things. We can only put our hope in future research.
But, It's sort of cool having a split personality. What kind of people get split personalities? What? It's kind of cool? Recent studies find that those who develop it, or rather, those who are more susceptible to developing it, may be genetically predisposed, or may have had an abnormal mental development. Some say that childhood abuse increases the chances. Yeah, that's really cool! Speaking of which, Person A here experienced abuse as a child, didn't he? How sad. Person A has 7 different personalities. Let's watch a video of him. Alright. Right after these commercials. Is this some talk show on TV that we're watching? It must be. That must have been some talk show. Like, Jerry Springer. There we go. At the 7th mark. Split personalities at the 7th mark. Okay, well, this is like a game I play, Apocrypha, where each game, there's like a setup made of 3 cards, and they make a sentence. Like this, split personality at the 7th mark while traveling along the trail. And each one of those different titles, there's different rules you got to put in for that round. Anyway, let's see what's going on at the 7th mark. What is the 7th Mart? It's the Mart on 7th Street. The 7th Mart was a bargain supermarket with food and alcohol. What is this, Keiichi? So many. There's no reason to get all the different kinds, is there? I flopped all the different colored cup noodle bowls into the cart. This is when I bought the noodle bowls when I was with my mom, and apparently Rena was following me. You would all remember this if you watched last time, which I know none of you had, because I believe Digital was the only viewer, and I still haven't posted the one from last week, which is a good moment to say that one's a little bit behind because I had some technical difficulties while recording, so it's split in 2. I gotta kind of put them together and, kind of clean it up a little bit. So that will go up soon. I had a very busy week this week. Cup noodles have gotten so elaborately recently, and there are a bunch of different types. I want to try each of them at least once. I knew it was pretty selfish of me, but I thought I'd at least give it a try. Keiichi? Buy them in the big case. It's cheaper. Dad faltered. Well, I had a feeling it'd end up like this. Dad knew there was no point in him butting in. Then I'd only get to eat one kind. I'd get bored with it. I was resisting it as a formality. I'd already given up inside and wasn't sure which case of noodles to get. If you can't pick, then Mommy will pick for you. You don't have to rush me. I quickly searched the cases of noodles for what I want. Pork bone and ginger, large cup? Hey Keiichi, can't you get a more normal one? If I let Mom pick, she'd err on the side of safety and get soy sauce or salt flavored. Pork bone is good. I don't want a big bowl of tasteless stuff. I remembered insisting that the noodles I picked were the right kind. In this frozen memory and time, this encapsulated world, I didn't have the power to look around my surroundings. So, I did what I could and reached out with my hearing and vision, sharpening my senses to find the presence I overlooked. No matter how much I searched through my field of vision, I couldn't see Rena. It's because she was a spirit. I rewound the situation, searching, but of course, I couldn't find her. Then, was she spying at me from my blind spot? I go through the sound and presences again, looking. I could sense the other customers. They were all mixed about, moving as they please. There was nobody looking over this way, and no one trying to get behind me. Not here. Couldn't be here. Probably wasn't here. I would definitely notice if someone was right behind me, even when I wasn't on my guard. I smiled wryly at the thought of using a vague word like probably right before contradicting it with definitely. Then I paused my mental replay as a chill ran down my spine. There was definitely a presence, like a shadow behind me. That was a terror unlike any other. If a presence really had manifested behind me, I would definitely have turned around to check for it. But the world had moved on, and there was no way for me to turn around. While carrying that frightening shadow on my back, I was gleefully running around the store searching for a case of noodles. Running through the instant noodle section, bad-mouthing my mom. But there was that presence constantly at my back, sticking to me like a shadow. No way to see what it was. Realizing it now after the fact was horrifying and repulsive. In that moment of time, I was running around gleefully, carrying that cardboard box, tip-tap, but listening to that moment again, I could hear footsteps other than mine going pit-pat with every step. Tip-tap, 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 pit-pat, 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 tip-tap, tip-tap, pit-pat, pit-pat, tip-tap, tip-tap, pit-pat, pit-pat. While I was running, the sound of those barefoot footsteps going pit-pat were right behind me. Me running around gleefully in that closed-off moment in time. But I didn't hear it. No, I heard it. That's why I remembered it. I didn't think I had heard anything. That's why I didn't turn around. That is why I didn't turn around. In that moment, the pit-pat of those footsteps were following me the entire time. I couldn't run faster and escape. I couldn't run any faster than I had ran at that time. I couldn't turn around. I hadn't turned around before, not once. Then I returned to my parents and started talking. The shadow-like presence was right at my back. Since I didn't move, the shadow didn't move. That is why it made no sound. Just talk about being scared of your own shadow. That was all. At that time, I hadn't taken a single step while talking with my parents. I was just standing there. This was undeniable. And yet, I heard it. A pit-pat. That shouldn't be. If I took 3 steps, it followed 3 steps. Wasn't that the rule? There was no sound other than that. At that time, the entire world had gone dark. A sudden darkness. It was the end of my reflective journey. I was tired. I wanted to end it. Someone turn on the light. Except my body couldn't move. As if I was sewn into that moment in time. Pit-pat. My past self's hair stood on end. It's impossible. Now, that's just breaking the rules. I haven't moved, so you shouldn't be moving either. I couldn't move, so you shouldn't be able to move either. Follow the rules, pit-pat. Yet that sound echoed in the darkness once again. The hair on the back of my neck pricked up on end. It was so close that it was hard to tell whether it was touching the hair or not. Why couldn't I move, like how the presence was moving behind me? I quickly realized I could move. It's just that I was scared and didn't want to. But now was the only time I could turn around. It was something unforgivable in this moment in time. But I needed to turn around immediately, as if my entire being was trying to force me to stop. It began to administer a pain like a needle being stuck into my every pore. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. A scream I was unable to vocalize. Raw! I turned around. At first, I couldn't understand the meaning of it. What? What is this? The situation in front of my eyes. It was like a mouth biting an apple and slurping the juice. The way you would do with an apple, my mind was being eaten. It began to munch down, slurping the juices because
It was like an apple, meaning what was in front of me was. What the heck? Detective Onus, read all the tips. What? 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 I am going to try to make it to the hour mark. At least. Uh, unless this is a short chapter, I hate it that we're going to be like stopping in mid chapters now because I really like being on the chapter a stream schedule. But here we go. Maybe I'll just die in the first 5 minutes here and we'll be done and this chapter is over. One thing I have noticed is the cover art for this. It's technically chapter 1, I think, is Rena, as you might be able to see right down there in the banner below. But then, like the next one, chapter 2 is Mion. So I wonder if like we're kind of really focusing on Rena right now and how possessed she is. If maybe in the next game we focus more on Mion and how really, really super evil she is. But we will get there when we get there in about another, like day and a half of actual streaming time or something like that. I guess I'd be lying if I said I didn't get any sleep. I tried to stay awake all night, but there were definitely gaps in my memory. I guess I kept nodding off and jerking awake in a panic all night. I spent the night hugging the metal bat and sat on the top of the futon I used to barricade my door. Oh, there is a really, really sturdy piece of furniture to barricade a door. A futon. I don't know why I don't think of that. We have a lot less home invasions if we just put futons in front of our doors. Waiting, watching, just in case someone tried to break in through my window. If I left the spot, someone would break through the door, sending the futon flying and attacking me. But if I stopped watching the window, someone would break through the glass and attack me. I tried telling myself I was just being paranoid, but I couldn't sleep. The thought of being so vulnerable scared the living daylights out of me. If sleep meant taking that risk, I didn't need it. It was so much better to just stay awake. At some point during that endless cycle of nodding off and jolting awake, light began to shine outside. But that wasn't it. It wasn't so much the morning as it was just the sun simply having risen. I snuck to peek out through the curtains. Rena was gone. I couldn't see her anymore no matter how hard I looked. Finally, I could breathe a deep sigh of relief. The night was finally over. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tired, but I didn't feel like sleeping at the moment. I still had time, but I needed to make my own breakfast, so I'd better get started soon. Skipping school was also an option. It's like there's not a teacher there to tell me that I needed to be there. What are we doing? We're just sitting around, we're playing games. That's all. With my mom gone, it'd be easy to play hooky. Honestly, I debated it. The risk involved in leaving my house was incalculable, so staying holed up in here was probably my safest option. But staying here wouldn't solve anything. Oishi-san wouldn't help me without cold, hard evidence. Neither he nor my parents. So unless I found some sort of proof, these relentless nights would never end. I stretched my body, tilted my head back, and closed my eyes, just like I did every morning. I regulated my breathing and regained my senses. Calm down, Keiichi Mayabara. Let's go to school. Let's wait until they set their trap for me. But that didn't mean I was just going to twiddle my thumbs. I needed to avoid that trap and secure irrefutable evidence. Hey, girls! Are you demons? Take note of the plates on any car that drives by. If I see someone suspicious, check their clothes and face. I wasn't just protecting myself. I was preparing myself to turn their tack against them and retaliate. The tension was similar to when two samurai were both aiming to slay each other with a single motion as they drew their katanas. I was not at a disadvantage. I would have a chance to retaliate. I finally felt a bit of courage growing in my chest. That's hair. All right, let's go to school. I tightened my grip on Satoshi's bat. He was the only partner I could count on. Satoshi, please lend me your strength. Strength that got you killed. And entrust your dying regrets to me. Since you were probably murdered, I'll make sure I dispel them. With renewed resolve, I checked the clock. It was still early. Of course, I was going to school by myself today. If I didn't want to run into Rena or Mion, I needed to leave now. Oh boy. The shattered fragments of the cupboard were still strewn all over the entryway. Right. I meant to clean it up last night, but never got around to it with the phone call and everything. If my parents came back and saw this while I was at the school, I would never hear the end of it. Still, I'd be wasting time if I cleaned it up right now. And considering what would happen if I ran into Rena or Mion, it wouldn't be too late to clean it up after I got back home. Do we know when they're getting home? Making extra certain that the doors were locked, I left the house. My uniform was still covered in mud from yesterday, so I left it in the washer. Today, I was going to go to school in a tracksuit. By wearing a different outfit this morning, my mind was forced to accept that today was different from yesterday. I had a hunch. Today might be the day I get killed. Keep your guard up, Kiishi Maebra. The only one who gets to decide if today is my last is me. We've come a long way from pilfering Colonel Sanders statues at the dam construction site. I spent the morning practicing my swing like it was a natural routine. Yes, that's right. Keep up the ruse that no one buys, at least no one important. After a while, Rena arrived at school. Our eyes met, but we said nothing. Rena said nothing about last night, as if it never happened. But I could see that those events were real by the wounds carved into her fingers. I just heard her telling Satoko and the others that the bandages were from hurting herself in the kitchen. Though it wasn't like it bothered me. The details that Oishi-san shared about Rena's incident before her transfer played vividly in my mind. Now that I knew about it, I couldn't even dream of Rena as a cute, ideal girl. I should almost give us a cute just for that because the word was mentioned. Keishan, I see you're still aiming for the Nationals. It was Mion. I had already sensed her approach, so I wasn't that surprised. Oh, Mion, if you understand, then leave me alone. I'm busy practicing. I gave her a curt reply without my usual jokes. Then I gave the bat an even larger swing, tactically keeping Mion from getting any closer. Hey, Kichan, take it easy. I think Mion got the message, but she still urged me to give it a rest. Homeroom's not that far off, is it? Just let me finish practicing. I swung the bat even harder as a sign of my refusal. Keyshawn, when did you get into baseball? Just recently. Recently? You mean yesterday. Don't ask if you already know. Oh dear, that's a very unsportsmanlike reply. You're distracting me. Go away. I ignored Mion and kept swinging. Normally, she'd get mad or bored and leave if something gave her the cold shoulder, or someone gave her the cold shoulder like this. But Mion just stood there, waiting patiently for me to stop swinging. I didn't sense any hostility, but we were at school in plain view. I doubt she'd suddenly attack me here. Or was that too naive? Still, I was starting to get tired. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad to take a break and hear her out. You need me for something, right? What is it? Sweat poured from me as I stopped swinging. I noticed my shoulders were heaving as I breathed. I cursed my lack of exercise. At this rate, I might not be able to move as needed when the time came. I should probably keep practicing my swings to build stamina, in addition to the excuse for carrying the bat around with me. Well, it's nothing important. If you're tired, I can ask again later. Now is fine. I'm only dealing with you right now because I judge the situation to be safe. Talking to you alone and away from others? Oh, that's out of the question. Well, Mion was uncharacteristically trying to choose her words. But, unlike Oishi-san, it didn't look like she was going to talk about something I'd rather not hear. Mion was puzzled, trying to find the right thing to say. But then she gave a hearty laugh to break herself out of that mire. This old man's just no good at this stuff. Having a poor vocabulary hurts. What, were you going to ask me out or something? You're very good at words. What is this all of a sudden? If you have something to say, just say it. Stop it. Stop that swinging. She cut straight to the point. Her request was so frank, I didn't understand it for a moment. I had already stopped swinging to listen to her, hadn't I? I just stopped, didn't I? That's not what I meant. I want today to be the last day you swing that bat. I'm sorry. It took me some time to understand what she was asking for. What's wrong with swinging a bat? Why? It's none of your business, is it? I'm not bothering anyone, am I? You are. Mion said it flat out. Yes, because you guys want to kill me, and you need me to be defenseless. This didn't make any sense, and that was really irritating. When did I bother anybody? Mion was at a loss for words, but she finally made up her mind and spoke, though she stuttered as she said it. But because, Kachan, that's someone else's bat. You shouldn't borrow without permission. It was left behind by a student who transferred, right? I'm just borrowing it until he comes back for it. Huh? Yeah, he transferred. Mion grew uncharacteristically flustered. That made it all too clear that his transfer was a lie. But strange, isn't it? For the older brother to transfer by himself, while his little sister stayed behind? Mion couldn't hide her reaction as my words shook her up. Oh, is that me? Okay. Ki-chan, you knew? Satoshi Huju. Satoko's older brother, right? The one demoned away last year? Unable to respond to that, Mion fell silent. Rena asked the same thing. Why did you start swinging that bat? She told me Satoshi did the same thing. practicing his swings right before he went missing. So, is this some kind of omen for Oyashiro-sama's curse? Shh! Mion panicked and looked around. Please, Kishan, don't mention Oyashiro-sama so recklessly. I don't believe in him, but the others very much do. Rena especially. Dangerously so? Anyway, you're scaring everyone. If you're just fooling around, then stop it. You have to stop acting like Satoshi. I was the only one who was scared. Why do I have to who do I have to thank for taking up this bat in the first place? But it still unsettled me knowing that my actions were overlapping with Satoshi's. It would be one thing if someone suggested it, but I thought I was making my own decisions. I'll say this now. I don't know anything about Satoshi. After all, you didn't tell me anything about him. We didn't mean to hide it. You were hiding the incidents that happen every year, weren't you? That's because we didn't want to, You didn't want to scare me? That's your reason for leaving me out? No, we didn't mean to. Mion, I asked you directly if something happened. At the dam, didn't I? And you told me nothing happened. When someone was dismembered and murdered, you lied to me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lie to you. Friends don't hide things from each other, right? Isn't that right? Then you aren't my friends. Kichian, Mion looked helpless and flustered. Was I imagining the tears in her eyes? I never could imagine Mion acting like this. Oh, by the way, those Get Well Mochi you brought the other day? They were good. I thought I was going to bleed. Who did it? You or Rena? Ooh, I'm showing them who I am. I am just asking to be killed. Me? Me? Mion? Me? She admitted it so easily. I couldn't help but be surprised at how easy that was. You could have killed me. How could you do that to a friend? But it was just a little prank. Mion gave me a wry smile mixed with confusion, causing even more anger to well up inside me. You think that was a prank? I grabbed Mion by the collar and lifted her up. Ooh, ee. That wasn't the same as putting Tabasco sauce on a piece of mochi. It was a needle, a sewing needle. If I had swallowed that, if it had lodged in my throat, what did she think would happen? Mion's face froze as her body rattled in fear. This wasn't the Mion Sonozaki I knew anymore. Anyways, you're not my friend. There's no reason for me to listen to someone who's not my friend. So just leave me alone for a while. Got it? Mion wasn't replying anymore. It won't be that easy to erase me, you know. The cops have been on to you from the start. So don't think you can make me disappear like you did Satoshi. I said it clearly. This was my declaration of war. Okay, new thoughts going through my head, but we'll hold on to those for a minute. I think you guys are suspects in the previous incidents too. I also know you spent a lot of time with the cops ever since the anti-dam movement. Don't think you can hide it from me. Got that? How did you know? Mion stood there with a dumbstruck look on her face. That was when I heard the principal ringing the bell for school, so we could go into a room with no teacher. It was time for morning homeroom. Let's go. The class representatives needs to be there, right? At that moment, for the first time, I realized Mion was sobbing as tears ran down her cheeks. You're so mean, Kishan. Me? I wanted to console her, but I shut my mouth. I had no need to feel guilty. I'm going. Don't be late for homeroom. I left Mion still shaking as I turned around to head for the entrance. I had no idea how troubling it was to make a girl cry. Behind my back, I could hear her muttering. It was a faint mutter as she was speaking to herself. It's not I'm sorry, is it? Okay, what if I am the monster? What if Oyashiro-sama possesses the new people who come into town? And what if they're the ones that do the attacking and they're basically killed out of self-defense? Hmm? 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 Just a thought. Just a thought. So that's how it is. Huh? She wasn't saying it to anyone. It was Mion talking to herself. But it was a sobbing voice that had kind of a giddy, cursing tone. I inadvertently stopped and turned back towards her. So it was. That bastard. He leaked it all to Keyshawn. She balled up her fists as her tears continued to rain down. She glared at the spot on the ground with a terrifying yet smiling face, cursing. A chill ran down my spine from that demonic expression. This transformation, Mion's transformation, was different from Rena's. I should have killed him back then. He forgot the mercy I showed him just because he was going to retire this year. Okay, back to the original thought. They're demons. Retiring this year? Was she talking about Oishi-san? No, duh. Get a clue, Kiishi-san. Damn it. Damn it. I'm going to kill the damn old man. Urgh. I felt like the air itself had begun distorting. With Mion at the center, the world had begun to twist and spiral. Bending, whirling. This was the first time I'd experienced such a visage. Rise, attention. Mion made up for her excuse for her red eyes by saying there was something wrong with her contacts. Except she doesn't wear contacts. After that, neither Rena nor Mion spoke to me for the rest of the day. Neither Satoko nor Rika-chan looked me in the eye. Strangely, I didn't feel hurt. Everything had just went back to the way it was. The month since I transferred in had almost been too much fun. That was all. School was supposed to be something like this to begin with. I should have disliked that feeling, but today it felt oddly refreshing. The bell rung, sounding the end of the monotonous school day, which had felt so tense, yet so dull. Since it would cause a lot of unpleasant memories if they asked me to join in the club activities, I promptly started preparing to go home without even looking at them. I stuffed the contents of my desk into my bag, wrapped my hand around Satoshi's now familiar bat, and began heading towards the entrance. I was assailed by both the exhausting relief that nothing had happened today and the tiring possibility of the same thing repeating tomorrow. Hey, we have an old night to go through, too. Isn't that when you got the mochi? At night? Isn't that when Rena tried to get you through the door? At night? Come on. It also has to do with food. So, but deep down inside me, far beneath, in the recesses of my heart, achingly, I knew this would be the last day of the cycle. I couldn't tell how the ending would be, whether it would end as I wished it to end, or if it would end as I hoped it wouldn't. Regardless, in my current state, there was something more important than how things would end. There was something I wanted to know. Why did I have to be killed? How did it come to this? Why? For what purpose?
The sunlight was relentless. The sun, the heat, even the air. They wouldn't give me my answers. Or could it be that the cries of the Higurashi were desperately trying to tell me something? Somewhere, mixed in with their shrieks, Tomataki-san and Satoshi were also probably trying to tell me something. I simply haven't been able to realize it yet. When I do realize it, I wonder if I will be amongst the Higurashi fruitfully crying to the next victim. Glancing down at my feet, I saw a Higurashi on its back, spasming weakly. Bwee, bwee, bwee! There was still much of the summer left, yet this one was already chirping its last song. Couldn't tell what it was saying, no matter how hard I listened. But I had to try. I had to try to listen to what it was desperately trying to tell me. I think I've lost it. I'm listening to a bug. At that moment, the shrills of the Higurashi ceased all at once, as if they had huddled together, fearing that the person who'd brought them to their dreadful fate had arrived. There was no mistaking it. A presence was approaching. The sound of footsteps was almost non-existent. If the Higurashi hadn't warned me by ending their chirping, I wouldn't have noticed. My exhaustion left me in a heartbeat. In its place was a rush of adrenaline that sharpened all my senses. I was just barely able to hold back that creeping, suffocating feeling of horror. It wasn't something I could hold back for long. But in this moment, when I needed to be razor sharp, I was able to retain my composure. Which girl is it? I wasn't going to shout like I did yesterday. I hid myself calmly amongst the trees, awaiting for my pursuer's shadow. Could I get them to pass by me? No, since I was able to hear their footsteps, they were probably also able to hear mine. They might have already been able to tell that I'd hidden myself and was holding my breath. The person tailing me, was it Rena, just like yesterday? If it was Rena, I wouldn't hold back. I'd just yell at her and make her go ahead like yesterday. If it wasn't Rena, it would depend on how they acted, I guess. The footsteps ambled closer. I swallowed, wiped my clammy hands on my pants, and readjusted the grip on the bat. I could tell that the fear that I had beaten back once was now waiting for another opening to come at me. Who could it be? I peeked out from behind the tree at the person following me. My imagination hadn't led me astray. It was Rena. There was a bit of relief as I realized it was someone I knew. Oh, but that feeling left me in an instant. Duh! Come on. This wasn't the same Rena that I knew. Her eyes were dark and lifeless, but her mouth appeared as it was carved into a crescent. Yes, it looked like she was grinning slightly. And right in her right hand was an axe. I hid myself behind the tree once again and recalled the unbelievable sight I just saw. What was it just now? The embodiment of terror laid bare? Baseball, practicing my swing. There were tons of excuses for me to be carrying a bat. But for that axe? There was no excuse for that. An axe, just like that. Keiichi-kun, are you playing hide and seek? I wonder. My heart was pounding, hard enough that I had trouble breathing. What little composure I had been able to hold on to was now crushed. In its place, cold sweat gushed forth, covering my entire body, letting me know precisely what kind of emotion had taken hold. Not good, not good, not good. I wasn't able to hide myself completely. She already knew I was here. Were you trying to scare me? I wonder. I decided that it would be better to reveal myself now.
since there was still space between us, than to allow Rena to come any closer. I adjusted my grip on the bat again, readied myself mentally, and stepped out from behind the tree. I found you, Keiichi-kun. Rena was pleased that she found me, eliciting a mysterious giggle. Her mouth was smiling, but her eyes told me she was displeased by the fact that I had been hiding. Those eyes, they were just so empty. My legs began to quiver. Ugh, not good. In the pit of my stomach, some sort of viscous hot and cold substance began spreading around. If I allowed it, that substance would slip into my bloodstream and undoubtedly freeze all the organs in my body. Not good, not good. I'll be devoured by Rena at this rate. Strike back. Don't lose. What is it? I blustered, hiding behind my bravado. But Rena didn't flinch one bit. Just the same as Kishi-kun. I'm heading home. Then what about that axe? Then what about that bat you're holding? I'm practicing my swing. Then I'm treasure hunting. Rena gave a flippant explanation as to why she had such a fearsome weapon. Treasure hunting? At the treasure mountain near the dam site, I found a new cute thing. Okay, I'll go with it. So I needed this to dig it out. How could I believe that? You wouldn't believe it, would you? Rena's laugh was obviously strange. I'd seen Rena's transformation many times before, but the one today was completely different. Like her mischievous tone and the shrewd glint in her eyes. It wasn't something that roundabout. I'm not sure what to say. It was just so obvious. Wait, Keiichi-kun. Rena didn't stop walking, even as she let out that eerie laugh. Whenever Rena got too close to me, I would scurry away and turn back towards her. This cycle repeated over and over. No matter how you looked at it, I was being chased by Rena and was trying to escape. Don't follow me! I can't do that. My house is this way after all. When I met with Rena on this road yesterday, she cowered and trembled as she followed my commands. But today was different. Rena didn't show a hint of trepidation. Actually, wasn't I the one who was cowering? If the way home for Rena and me was the same, that's fine. I'd just change my route. That'd work out, wouldn't it? Yeah, no problem. I turned onto a side street I'd never been down and knew little about. Oh, come on, yes you have. You've been here how long? But Rena saw me do that and followed me while laughing. Why? Why? Aren't you going home? Then just go home, down the street. You normally do. Why? Why would you follow me down this weird little side road? Those thoughts screamed in my head, eventually spilling out of my mouth. Why are you following me? The tone of my voice was already tinged with terror. Because I want to talk to Keiichi-kun. Keiichi-kun wants to talk to Rena too, doesn't he? Doesn't he? I don't want to talk about anything with you. That's a lie, isn't it? There's something you want to ask me about, isn't there? Not at all. I have nothing to talk to you about. That's a lie, isn't it? It's not a lie. Lie!
Lies! Rena's scream echoes, startling some nearby birds into flight. I cringed in fear. The only other thing I could do was increase my pace. Let's talk, Kiichi-kun. Talk. Why was I running down this unfamiliar and deserted street? Doesn't Kiichi-kun have something he's worried about? No, nothing at all. I'm not worried about anything. Lies! Even though I was running, even though Rena was walking, why wasn't I getting any further away? I know, I really do know. You're scared, aren't you, Kiichi-kun? I'm not scared. I'm not scared of anything. Lies! My breathing grew heavy, and it felt like my legs were giving out from beneath me. Rena wasn't even breaking a sweat. I'll listen. This time I'll listen. I had no idea what she was talking about or what exactly she wanted to do. This time I'll listen. It will be different from the time with Satoshi-kun. When she said Satoshi's name, I turned back for a moment. But even as I did that, Rena was still advancing. I couldn't afford to stop. Satoshi-kun was worried too. It looked like he was having such a hard time. But I didn't listen. I was so sad. Where did the street connect to? All these twists and turns, ups and downs? It was hard to believe that this was even remotely in the direction towards my house. It probably isn't. My sense of direction had long since gone out the window. I really regretted it when Satoshi-kun transferred out. I thought that if I had listened, he may not have transferred out. I really regretted that. The road led me deeper into the forest. Wasn't I getting further away from the village the more I ran? I lost more and more of my composure the more I thought about it. But despite this realization, my inner self was still disturbingly calm. So you see, I vowed that if there was someone struggling like Satoshi-kun did, I'd save them. I don't want to see anyone transfer out again. Damn it! What does transfer even mean? I won't let you transfer me. I won't end up the same as Satoshi. Come on, Kiishi-kun. Talk to me. I'll be able to understand you, Kiishi-kun. I'm your ally. I started wheezing, out of breath. My lungs were so hot, they felt like they were going to explode. My heart was beating as hard as it possibly could. I should have practiced running instead of my swing. I couldn't even afford to scoff at that stupid thought. If Kiishi-kun doesn't have anything to worry about, he'll go back to normal. Everyone will be back to being friends, and we can enjoy club activities again. Next time, we'll team up and beat Mishan. Yeah, how much fun would that be? Rena couldn't even imagine how much fun I wish I could turn back the clock on these past few days. You could be nice to me again, too. I want to go on searching for treasure again. This time, I'll prepare a nice lunch. Actually, we could just go now, right now. Let's go up to the damn site together. I'll show you the cute thing I just found. I'm sure you'll like it, too. Well, it got mentioned. Gotta do something. We gotta have something to count. My footsteps made pathetic flapping sounds as my legs wobbled and faltered. Hot on my heels, Rena's steps were sharply breaking twigs underfoot. I had to accept it. I was on the run, being chased by a girl, Rena. If she caught me, it was all over. I realized it instinctively. I couldn't even begin to think of what the end would entail. How about my entrails? Just that if I was caught, it was all over. That's all I knew. It didn't matter how it was going to end. I wouldn't let it end. Not without
knowing anything, not yet. That momentary lapse was all it took. All the things that could have happened. My knees buckled underneath me and I crumbled towards the ground. I tried to stand frantically, urging my legs to respond. I used my bed as a makeshift cane to prop myself up, but Rena was already standing right in front of me. Compared to me, out of breath and utterly exhausted, Rena was so cool and composed that she could have froze the air around me. She wasn't breathing hard at all. Rather, I couldn't even sense if her heart was beating. Are you afraid of something? I wonder. It's not like you to tremble, Keiichi-kun. Her expression looked almost affectionate. Those soulless eyes, that mask of affection. As she admonished me for trembling, Rena's hands deftly slipped over her head. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. The blur of arms, as they moved, made me feel as if I was staring at the godliness of the thousand-armed Buddha. Then, as both her hands met above her head, the axe that she held came into focus. I stared up at it in disbelief. It was all I could do. Tell me, what happened to Satoshi? And it stayed like that, with the axe raised above her head, and solemnly opened her mouth. It was as if she was expressing a farewell to a friend she was to never see again. That cruel scenario resided somewhere in her actions. I told you, Satoshi-kun transferred out. Enough of that transfer crap. It means demoned away, doesn't it? Doesn't it? You can tell me now, can't you? Who made Satoshi disappear? Was it you, Mion, or someone in the village? Answer me. I became frantic the more I screamed, but Rena did nothing but maintain the smile frozen on her face. I have no idea what Keiichi-kun is talking about. Then I'll say it in a way so you do. Who is the perpetrator of this chain of mysterious deaths? You seem to be confused, Keiichi-kun. What? There is no human perpetrator. Everything is by Oyashiro-sama's will. Isn't Oyashiro-sama's curse just superstition? You believe in that too? It's not about believing or not. Oyashiro-sama exists, period. Rena's gaze grew even more gelid. The ferocity of her stare was so intense, not allowing me to question anything. There's just no way that something like Oyashiro-sama could exist. You don't believe in Oyashiro-sama? There's no way I could believe it. There's no way it could exist. It exists. Oyashiro-sama exists. Keiichi-kun should have felt it personally. I never felt something like that. Keiichi-kun, haven't you felt someone apologizing to you before? Constantly on top of that? All noise from the outside world disappeared. Only Rena's voice resounded, loudly and terribly. You see, until you forgive them, they'll always be with you. At school, at home, at your bedside? I couldn't understand what Rena was saying. It came to me too. Oyashiro-sama did. That's why I transferred out and came back to Hinamizawa. I don't understand. I don't understand. What does transfer even mean? What was Rena saying? Hasn't Oyashiro-sama come to you as well, Keiichi-kun? I'm probably the only one who you can confide in. Oh, I won't let you transfer out, okay?
Rena's demented laughter clanged around inside my head. Was Rena saying Oyashiro-sama's curse came to her as well? That's right. Last night I had heard about that when I asked about Rena. Please keep this confidential. Also, part of this may be speculation. Not all of it may be true. Are you still interested? Oishi-san began speaking. Neither the victims nor the school filed a complaint, so there is no preliminary report. Basically, the police hadn't intervened in this matter, so all of these details are just what I heard from those involved, meaning it's not that credible. You said there were victims. Didn't Rena just break all the windows? No, Rena Ryugu had attacked 3 boys using a metal bat. 2 of them made it out with only bruises, but the other one had been injured so badly that one of his eyes were permanently damaged. Well, wouldn't that be considered assault? Shouldn't the police have arrested her? For whatever reason, the victim never pressed charges. There was no report to the police, so they were beaten with a bat and suffered significant injuries. Normally there would be a criminal investigation. But why? Why didn't they press charges? I tried asking the 3 male victims for their side of the story, but they were all reluctant. It's hard to say, but they were all afraid, even after she had transferred schools. Oishi-san, could you summarize it starting from the beginning? What? We're just gonna go through this all again? Rena hit people while she broke the windows. Or was it she started breaking windows after she got bored of hitting people? They sounded similar, but the meanings were drastically different. On an undisclosed date, Rena Ryugu was conversing with 3 male students, close friends of hers, near the pool storage shed. Who were those 3s? I can't reveal their names, but they were close to Rena Ryugu, and it seems they were a group of friends. She was the lone girl in their group, just like I'm the lone guy in our group. So, it wasn't that strange that the 4 of them were together. So, what happened? I don't know the reason why. She took the baseball team's bat, and that was in the pool storage shed, and beat the 3 of them down, one after the other. What? There were no witnesses. There was an account pieced together by the information given at the time of the incident. One day after school, Rena and the 3 male students were at the pool storage shed talking together. They were seeking help. Rather, they usually met up there. It appears it became a heated discussion. They weren't seeking help. At the time, Rena underwent a change. She turned red. The change was so abrupt that the 3 of them didn't comprehend what was happening. Oh. Then, taking the metal bat, she attacked her friends one after the other. Oh. Leaving her friends covered in blood with gashes on their head, she made her way towards the school building. Oh. Then she broke the glass windows one after the other. A few minutes later, a teacher appeared on the scene and subdued her. What was this change Rena underwent? What matches up in the statements from the 3 was a sudden change. The point that there was a transformation. Transformation, transfer out. Oh, crap. Transformation? I also could recall Rena's transformation. I'd seen that change many times before. It was so different from the usual Rena that I couldn't help but believe it was someone else who looked like Rena. That transformation they're talking about, had it happened before? No, there was nothing like that. As far as I could find out, in her medical history and past, there was nothing like that. Does that happen often where people change suddenly, like Rena did?
Of course it does. There are plenty of psychological phenomena that could cause something like that.
Then you're saying there was a dormant element in Rena that caused out that transformation?
I cannot say that for certain, but according to the statements of her friends, it's hard to believe she had such a side to her.
Kind, caring, and adorable. Even before she transferred here, she was probably pretty popular in school like she was now. That girl transforming suddenly and assaulting them with a bat? Who could imagine such a thing? Nobody could have seen it coming. I myself sometimes believe that I was mistaken for thinking that was Rena, even now. Then what happened after that?
There was a hospital right across from the school, so the three of them were carried in and treated quickly.
What about Rena? What about the police? Why wasn't there a criminal investigation?
You see, the police can't get involved unless they are called.
Even though one was badly injured with a permanent damage? Why didn't they file charges?
Because it's the teachers. All the teachers.
Well, no teachers. They're all spirits. That's why you don't see them. They're just ghosts. They're the spirit of Oyashiro-sama.
That's what caught my attention as well. Either some threat or pressure was placed on them, or they had a reason they couldn't file charges even if they wanted to.
We're talking about you after all. Of course you looked into it, didn't you?
Well, yeah, but I told you at the beginning, didn't I? That the victims were all very reluctant to talk. They didn't want to touch on the matter, or rather, they didn't want to be involved.
Reluctant to talk. Didn't want to touch it. Didn't want to be involved. It resembled the villagers here, and Oyashiro-sama's curse. Didn't the teacher at the school tell you anything?
A school is hallowed ground. You could say they tend to keep scandals under wraps. I didn't have a search warrant, so I had to tread lightly, you see.
Then there was no comment from the school?
No. They denied the incident ever happened.
Psst. Well, what about the Home Depot where they bought all the windows from to replace? It's just
3 male students were carried in for blunt force trauma that day. That's all there was in the hospital records.
The victims didn't even speak? The school denied it happened? Then you don't know anything at all. Why am I talking to you?
Yeah, I know nothing other than the incident itself had taken place. The victims also wished this incident to be kept from the public. So, if you and I both forget about it, Mayabara-san, then this incident will probably just fade away.
For a brief period, we sat in silence. At first glance, it looked like a simple assault case. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. The depths were obscured by roiling waves, sinking quietly into the void, as if it never existed to begin with. After that, she was suspended by the school, and during that time, she underwent psychiatric counseling. Did you hear anything from that doctor?
Again, they were very professional in regards to their ethics, or at least very tight-lipped.
Nothing even after you showed them your badge?
I was told to get a warrant. The badge itself has no legally binding authority after all.
Then how did you know that Rena confessed it was Hiroshiro-sama who did it?
There was a nurse I asked in that department. She agreed to help me just from showing her my badge.
Then what did she say? Turns out that the nurse hadn't heard anything. Apparently, all that she remembered was what she overheard from inside the room.
The nurse said at the time, Rena Ryugu was very calm and mild-mannered.
It was more like she was confessing her sins at church than a counseling session. She spoke with her mother there for some of it, but partway through, her mother was asked to leave, so it became a private counseling session between just the doctor and Rena for a while. The part with Oyashiro-sama, when did that pop up?
Partway through, she screamed the name suddenly, That startled the nurse, and that's why she started listening in. It was Oyashiro-sama! Rena suddenly shouted that. I had no idea what she said before that, so I had no idea what the meaning behind it could have been. The doctor calmly and collectively asked Rena to have a seat. What is this Oyashiro-sama you speak of? Gently, ever so gently, the fundamentals of counseling were believing what you were told. Whoever abandons Hinamizawa will be hunted down by Oyashiro-sama. And they've finally gotten to me. That's the town you lived in before you moved here. Isn't that right, Ryugu-san? I didn't want to move, but because of my mom and dad's circumstances, we had to. But Oyashiro-sama wouldn't allow it. Ryugu-san must have a lot of friends in Hinamizawa. Even now, you must be missing them dearly, don't you? I wasn't to go back to Hinamizawa. No, it's not that I want to go back. I have to go back. I should have gone back much sooner. But now it's too late. Oyashiro-sama has come. Oyashiro-sama is the name of the god in Hinamizawa. Isn't that right? Everyone knows it's Hinamizawa's guardian deity. And if you ever try abandoning Hinamizawa by leaving, you'll incur his wrath. You had moved quite a while ago, didn't you? Then it was just now that this god has arrived, is what you're saying? You might not believe me, but Oyashiro-sama exists. That nurse was then asked by another nurse to do something and left the room. That was all she remembered. That it was Oyashiro-sama's doing, right? I do believe there is that kind of superstition in Hinamizawa, that if you leave the village, then you incur Oyashiro-sama's wrath. You should be familiar with this part, Mayabara-san. I knew very well that those scorned by the village incurred to hinder the dam construction project. They cursed the construction foreman to his death. In the following year, Satoko's parents, supporters, and leading advocates for the dam were cursed to their death. But this was the first time I've heard of the curse incurred by leaving the village. This is my first time hearing that. I can understand outside threats being cursed by the village, but why also villagers who leave? Normally, people who leave villages aren't supposed to be cursed, right? That happens all the time. I know it's a bit strange to say it, but I could see it as a rule that the people who come in are the ones who would be cursed. Far from Jupiter, far from his thunder. Curses weren't something to chase after people that leave, were they? Oyashiro-san pondered for a bit over on the other end of the receiver, and then began speaking again. Well, I told you long ago when Hinamizawa was called Onigafushi, didn't I? I recalled hearing that. Long ago, Hinamizawa was feared and respected as the village of ogres. The villagers at the front of the mountains worshiped the ogres. So, Onigafushi was hallowed ground that you could never enter. It came to be said that if you entered carelessly, you were cursed by Oyashiro-sama. Those who set foot in Onigafushi, in other words, Hinamizawa, would be cursed. I could understand that. I know that, but for leaving to also be no good? That's... Also, the ogres, you see. They were being strictly watched by Oyashiro-sama, so they would not enter into our world. In other words, Oyashiro-sama probably restricted interaction between Onigafushi and the rest of the world. I see. I finally understood what sort of thing Oyashiro-sama was. So basically, Oyashiro-sama is more like a warden than a protector at deity, I guess. Trying to keep this place isolated from the rest of the world? I guess that's how it would seem. I'm sorry, I don't know very much myself. This is mostly what was passed on to me from my grandmother. I could understand it a bit better if it was like that.
Those who came to Inamazawa would be cursed, and those who tried to leave would also be cursed. So, because Rena originally lived in Hinamazawa and moved away, she fulfilled the requirements for being cursed. So that means because Rena moved away against its wishes, she was cursed by Oyashiro-sama? Is that what it adds up to? In short, that seems to be what it points to, I guess. As a matter of fact, soon afterwards, they did move back to Hinamazawa after all. Those who abandoned Hinamazawa and left were cursed. But then, why only Rena? Shouldn't Rena's parents also have been guilty of the same transgression by moving away and having been cursed? Also, in this day and age in Japan, shouldn't there be a lot of people coming and going? If every single one of them was cursed, then it'd be insane. But in reality, it wasn't that big of a deal at all. At most, there would be one person dying and one disappearing on the day of Watanagashi. Don't like saying at most, though. Well, anyways, there's a lot I still don't know. Even if it was Oyashiro-sama's curse, it doesn't add up to why her classmates, the victims who were beaten with a metal bat, wouldn't press charges. You don't think the victims were cowering because they believed that a terrible curse had befallen them, do you? Of course, I didn't want to believe it. But more importantly, I had just realized something else. There was another bizarre connection that Rena made between Oyashiro-sama's curse and the metal bats. Satoshi fell victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse and went missing. I had recently learned that Satoshi had also become infatuated with a metal bat right before he disappeared, just like me. Then Rena as well. She was affected by Oyashiro-sama's curse. She confessed that much to the doctor. And the weapon which she had used at the time of that horrendous act was again a metal bat. And finally, me. I encountered various things that were inexplicable, and now I was holding on to a metal bat. I was shocked when I learned that Satoshi did the same thing. It couldn't be. Had the same thing happened to Rena? But there was one critical difference between her and Satoshi's case. That being, Satoshi went missing after falling victim to the curse, but Rena was still here. Both of them had fallen victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse, yet they were met with different endings. And finally, me. I couldn't call it a coincidence anymore. Rena, Satoshi, and finally me. Could it be that I was really under Oyashiro-sama's curse right now? No, more importantly than that, what should I do now? Satoshi had been demoned away, vanishing without a trace. Rena was fine. Fine? Rena had undergone a change. I could only believe that there was something that wasn't Rena residing within her. And here, right now, it was standing before me. And we will get to that when we come back next time on Higurashi, When They Cry Who. Let me hit quick save. Let me go to menu. Let me save and load. And save. Yes. Ooh. I'm assuming this is the final battle. And who knows, it might be over soon. But again, that will be next time. We went for another 1 hour and 40 minutes with a little break in there, but still. Anyway, I am Terrence, and as always, I'd like to remind you of my website, Tev's Next Idea. You can get there at tevsnextidea.blogspot.com, and the address is in the description of this page. I write my solo role-playing stories there. I just finished a journaling game, a romance that went a lot better than, or a relationship that went a lot better than the relationships in this game.
And I also have my faith-based blog, half-air.com. Uh, if that is something that you've never thought about really seriously, I would suggest that being, faith. I would suggest taking a look for some people who are very familiar about that. I have a few links on my site to places where you can ask questions, or you can ask me or read some of my articles. You might be surprised at what God's really like. Um, but uh, that's all fine and dandy. But for now, tomorrow, you all have a great Father's Day, or by the time you watch this, Father's Day will probably come and gone. So I hope you've had a great Father's Day, whether you are a father or more likely you have a father, and that you wish them a good day. Maybe yeah, have some fun with them.